how they would feel, I'd let them down, or how I'd make them feel. But it really, inside, what it came down to was I started to feel like I wanted to say no so badly, because I became so overwhelmed with, consumed with helping everybody else. And I started to realize that I need to set time aside for myself, and there's things that I need to do for myself.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to pause you there. I'm going to pause you there, Tatiana. So if you are someone in this stream and you've had the experience of people making, especially family members, right, needing you or making demands of you, and you felt like you couldn't say no, type 1 in the box, type 1 in the chat. If you've had that experience, if someone's asking you, could be family member, could be a close friend, and you felt like you couldn't say no, right? You wanted to say no, you should say no, but you couldn't do it, right? And it was out of your control, you might say, right? That's that 1.0 mindset you can hear Tatiana describing there, when we are the passenger seat of our situation. We're not in the driving seat, and we're certainly not in the creator mindset there, right? We're just definitely, I don't want to say a victim, but like at the effect of, right? We're like dealing with things coming at us, and it all seems out of our control. Yeah, does that reflect your experience of that time,
Absolutely.
Tatiana?
I was the driver. I was not, I was a passenger, I'm sorry. Instead of being the driver in my life, which I should have been, I was a passenger. I sat back and I let these people make these demands of me, and I did it because I didn't want to deal with the consequences of upsetting them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's entirely understandable. All right, so now you realized that that was not something you wanted to continue doing, right? You wanted to upgrade, and in our conversation, what I think we were looking at is you upgraded to being the creator of your scenario, creator of your circumstances. So what did you do to kind of take ownership of the whole situation and start figuring out what you were going to do? What did you do?
I would always ask my parents, could you please ask my siblings for help, or ask my niece and nephews, like maybe they could mow the grass, or they could do something. But no matter what inconvenience it caused to me, my parents still always relied on me. That being said, what I had decided to do was, I realized, like I said, that I needed to take control. I needed to find a job. My dating life was put on the back burner. These are things that I realized I had to do what was most important and best for me, despite the consequences of my parents being upset with me. And I can give you an example of this past week. My mother had a doctor's appointment, which was done via Zoom, and my parents, I laugh, because they have had tablets before I have, and they've used Zoom plenty of times before I have, and they're elderly. They know how to use it, but for some reason they were unable to connect with the doctor for my mother's doctor's appointment, and I got the blame for it. My mother missed the doctor's appointment because it was my fault that I wasn't there to do it.
Yeah, so there you go. So here's what happened, right? Just to fill in a little gap there, what you've done, right? Tatiana, you took a stand for yourself, right? And even before you did that, one of the things that I know you went back and did is when you recognized, and for everyone who's just joining the stream, what we're talking about how Tatiana upgraded her mindset from being a passenger to being the designer of her situation. And the step that she didn't yet mention to everyone that she did do was she made a list of the things that she was willing to say yes to, and another list of the things she wanted to say no to, but maybe she didn't always feel like she could, right? And then she double checked her yes list to see if she needed to move anything from the yes list over to the no list, right? And so one of the things that ended up on the no list is handling every appointment for mom, right? And making sure they handle their Zoom and everything. That was like one of the things that ended up on the no list. So when your mom came and made that request, you knew the answer was no, and you had you designed it that you were going to say no so that you had the space to do the other things you needed to do, including your job hunting and so forth, right?
Correct. And I had to be okay with them being upset with me, which is a very hard thing because I am a people pleaser and I want everyone to be happy. So something I had to learn, to take control and to be okay with feeling be okay with them being upset with me, and learning
Yes.
to be okay with that.
Yes, and that's really important for all of us, right? Because what you can hear in Tatiana loves helping people, but for her to make the biggest difference that you want to make in your life, Tatiana, right, is you have to actually get your life in a way that you can contribute to others, which means you have to take care of yourself.
Yes.
If you're not well and you're not handled and your job isn't handled and your relationships aren't handled for you, you're not going to be strong to take care of those that you care about. You see that?
Absolutely.
And that's what designer mindset 3.0, purpose centric. You're like, I really want to make a difference in the world. And that starts with me setting boundaries of where I end and others are responsible for their stuff. And your parents are both over the age of 18, so they can both work out how to attend their doctor's appointments.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, if you find the comments aren't showing, James, all you need to do is leave the stream and come back and you'll find the comments work for you again. So thank you for making that mention. Hello to everyone who's joining the stream. Really welcome. What Tatiana's been talking about is how to use the 3.0 mindset, which is to upgrade our mindset from being a passenger to being a driver. All right, and so thank you so much, Tatiana. So what has been the impact on you of being able to have the strength to say no when you wanted to say no?
The impact has been that you become stronger as you do it more and more. You learn that you feel more comfortable with the feeling of other people being unhappy with you, right? Because people are unhappy at different times in our lives. You also realize how you put yourself as a priority. You realize how important the things that you need to do. Like when I did that, I sat back and I didn't realize how much of my time was being taken away from me for the things that I need to succeed in my life, and what was holding me back and preventing me from it. I was very tired. I wasn't able to continue my job search and different things. So.
Yeah, and that's really amazing that you've now taken that stand. You can now focus and set time aside to do the things you know you need to do, Tatiana. And it takes tremendous courage to do that. Tremendous courage, and it's not easy, and it will continue to have moments where it's not easy. So being a purposeful person, right, being a designer of your life is not something that's easy.
I agree, absolutely. Especially when you want to please everyone.
You can't, being purpose-centric may not be the choice, but being fulfilled and living what you're really on the planet for, that requires a purpose-centric mindset.
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you to you, Gabriel, because it wasn't until I had that conversation with you that made me look at it differently. I didn't realize before then the difference between being a passenger and being a driver in my life. And if it wasn't for you and having that conversation with you, you made me think, you made me see the difference between the two. So I am so grateful for that, because it's helped me tremendously in what I need to do right now and my goals right now. So I appreciate that.
Oh, it's a joy. And thank you for sharing yourself and being so open and sharing yourself with everybody here in the show. I know that if you saw yourself and you learned something from yourself, and you see something for you, if you're in our stream, please hit 1. If you got a lot out of Tatiana's, please type 1 in the chat. Yes, people really got something from that. Thank you so much, Tatiana. Yes, thank you for the favorites. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for gifting Tatiana. She's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing yourself, Tatiana. You're a remarkable woman. I'm really grateful for your time today. And everybody hit Tatiana up with a favorite if you haven't already, up in the box. I'll give you another second to do that. And then we will take you through to the next idea of the day. Oh, you did beautifully, by the way, Tatiana. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. And it's a privilege to know you. So thank you so much, Gabriel. And thank you for being so helpful.
Thank you. All right. So I'm going to need you to hit the X on the box because my X doesn't seem to work. All right. So in the meantime, if our next guest, Becky, will make a request for the box, I'm going to bring you to the box in a minute, but just make the request. Thank you. And everybody who's joined the stream, thank you for being here. It's a joy having you here. This stream, is about making an impact, making a difference to those around you. And we just had Tatiana share with us how she used these ideas to help her get strength to draw boundaries and create balance in her life and her relationships with others, in particular her parents. That's a really inspiring story and inspiring share from Tatiana. So all of us who work in a job somewhere have had the experience where the company says it's up to big things, but as employees, we don't feel like our day-to-day life makes that kind of impact or that kind of difference. So there always seems to be a gap for most people between what an organization wants to have happen and our experience. And so this gap that you see is our chance to make a difference. It's our chance to have an impact. And so this program that we're on here today to make an impact is exploring how to go across that gap. And so one of the things that happens is if you're someone who wants to find a job or look for opportunities, you are faced with many options. There's so many jobs you could go for and so many opportunities you could pursue. It can be difficult to make decisions, right? So if you struggle to make decisions, today is your chance to find out how you can choose which opportunities to go forward. Now, actually, before I go into that, I kind of want to introduce you guys to an interesting word, the word decision. Most of the time, when we make decisions, there's an interesting aspect to that. Decision is has the same root word, side, as genocide, homicide, regicide, right? These are all murdering something, right? So when we make decisions, the way a decision works is we do our pros and cons, and then we murder the options that we end up not choosing, and we go for the one that we select, right? That's like how it works for decisions. We kill everything off and we just go with the one we decided, right? But we are talking about choices. This is you actually selecting something because you've given it careful consideration and you find that it's relevant to you and it forwards your future. That's that 3.0 mindset, that purpose-centric mindset. And so today we're introducing you to 5 criteria that you can use to make choices, to choose between the options and opportunities in front of you. So I will mention what these are, and then we're going to go into more detail when we have Becky in the box sharing her example. So the 5 criteria are, the first one is it fits your purpose and it fits your passion. So if you were with us last week on Make an Impact, you will remember that we talked about purpose. I will give a brief recap of that concept before we have Becky come into the box. The second criteria is that this opportunity builds on your strengths and skills. The third criteria is that it handles your needs and wants. So you get, if you need money, or if you need to develop your reputation, or if you want to achieve certain things, then it fulfills that. 4 is it failure steers, not sinks, which means that if it goes terribly wrong, you're not out of luck and on the street. And number 5 is you're inspired by the impact you're going to make through this opportunity. So those are the 5 criteria. So the way this works is you look at your opportunities that you're evaluating, you make a little grid, and you see, okay, what are the 5 criteria, and does it tick or does it not tick each one of those criteria? And at the end of the day, what your goal is to get green check marks across the way. If it's green check marks across the way, then it's an opportunity. If it's not green check marks, then it's something you could do, but it's not necessarily going to be strategic for your future. All right? So we're going to go into this a little bit more detail. So I'm going to have, in a moment, I'm going to have Becky in the box, but I just wanted to let you know what are the things that Becky did to prepare to share with you the opportunity she's assessing. Right? The first thing that Becky did is she listened to the concepts we did last week, and she got clarity of purpose. She created a purpose statement, and you'll get to find out what that is just now. Then she made a list of the things she finds fun, which we call passions. She made her list of strengths and wants. So if you're going to evaluate based on what you want and what your strengths are, you need to make that list. And then she also made a list of what opportunities that she wanted to pursue, right? What is it that she wants to do next? So here we go. Let's recap on the purpose idea from last week. Got to find my purpose. So Ian Stephen is referring to a song from a show called Avenue Q. If you've never seen Avenue Q, it is so funny. It's a bit cheeky, but it's so funny. So it's a musical. So if you get a chance, go watch some YouTube videos. There's a song about purpose in there, and it is super funny. It is really great. Great reference there, Ian Stephen. Right, so understanding our purpose. I use this analogy of a mug. So a mug is a receptacle for hot beverages, but it can be used for other things. It can be used, for example, as a pencil holder, right? But is that what the mug is for? If you use it as a pencil holder, you don't get the cool insulation properties and the handle. You don't get to make the most of what the mug is for. And it's the same with us as human beings. If you don't declare what your purpose is, then the world will just use you for whatever you happen to be nearby for. So our purpose is our chance to declare what the world will use us for. All right? So that's what that's about. So if you want to kind of recap that, we're going to put on YouTube the video from last week where you can watch that purpose episode in more detail. But get clarity of your purpose is the first step. And the way you do that is you make two lists. We love our lists. We make two lists. One of your fulfillments, those are the moments you have highlights and you know you have that feeling, oh, this is what my life is for, this is what my life's about. And then you make another list of the things that bother you, that get under your skin, that frustrate you. And the intersection of those two lists, the themes in those two lists, help you identify your purpose and finish the statement, I am for. All right. So we're now going to have Becky in the box. Let me just go and get you in the box. Becky is in the box.
Hello.
Hello, Becky. Welcome.
Hi. How are you?
Great to have you here. Thank you for taking the time to be with us, Becky. Lovely to have you here. So everybody, please hit Becky with the favorite. And Becky, I'm just going to give you a chance now. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are.
Okay, so my name's Becky. I am also a streamer. I'm a full-time mum to 3 kids, and I was currently working as a teaching assistant for special needs kids. In September, I had a breakdown due to some issues that were going on at work. Reclused up a bit, stopped living life, encaved myself, then found streaming and felt that I was able to support other people that were going through different things on the app, and actually support quite a few people now on and around the app, as well as off of live streaming in real life. So I'm on a process, and Friday I made the decision to quit my job, and here we are.
Wow. So you guys can see how amazing Becky is. A heart the size of the moon, and a very inspiring woman. And she's a teaching assistant, but she works with people with special needs. Very, very caring and talented woman. So thank you very much for taking the time to be with us, Becky. I think a lot of people are going to relate to being at that crossroads in making a job decision or choosing between opportunities and finding what to do next. So here we go. Let's just talk through the things that you did. And the first thing you did is you got your own clarity of purpose. So could you just tell us what your purpose statement is and what you discovered when you realized and you articulated your purpose statement?
Okay, so my purpose statement is I am for people being included and be able to give fully. So I'm an all-inclusive person. My streams everybody is welcome. There is no judgment. And I have all sorts of people from backgrounds, disabilities, etc., that come through, and the same goes in life of people I deal with in life. So that was my statement. The way I got to that was I wrote a few statements of fulfillment. Some of them were working with special needs kids. I've got some great success stories of children that were spoon-fed, didn't pick up a pencil, etc., etc. And by the time they left me, they were highest in times tables in the class, eating in the main dinner hall, etc. Actually getting my qualification, I was a full-time mum for many, many years. So when my marriage ended, I made the decision that I wanted to be something and do something. So I did my level 1 and 2 qualification in teaching assistant. I've also had friends that have got themselves in a bit of a mess, stuff everywhere, can't be bothered to clear, etc., etc. So I've worked with them in order for them to sort their own house out and just guided them in the right way. So there were things that gave me fulfillment. My frustrations are bullies. Can't stand bullies. I was bullied in school. The reason I've left my job is because my boss bullied me out of the situation, out of the job. Stress, depression and anxiety, I talk about it lots on my stream. They're things that frustrate me because they stop me from being able to do the things I want to do.
Yeah, I just want to point that out there. I just really want to point something out that you did there.
Yeah.
Right, Becky, is that you can everybody can hear how you help those that become able to give fully themselves.
Yeah.
Those young people, right?
Yeah.
They made such huge progress, but then also people can hear how your frustration when you were experiencing the anxiety and depression, it stopped you from being able to give fully, which was really the deep frustration you were experiencing.
Yeah.
Right. And the bullies is obviously the opposite of being included.
Yeah.
Right. So when you got those lists and you were able to really get to this statement of what you're for, and what does it now enable you to do that you have this singular statement of your purpose?
Well, being completely honest, so obviously we had a conversation today and we actually spoke this through, and there was different options we could have gone for. And when we came up with that, I got quite emotional because I've never been able, I'm so good at picking the bad things about me rather than the good things and what I'm here to do. So I got very emotional when we actually pinpointed that was my purpose. It really touched home, really touched home.
Yeah, I can get that. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So for everyone who's just arriving, we're talking today about how do we make choices. And the first step is to get clarity of what we're for, including, and we call it your purpose statement. You can see that Becky's been talking about being for people being included and able to get fully. So if that's what you want in the world, you need to call up a Becky, right? Mm-hmm. All right, and then the other thing you did is you made a list of your passions. Can you just give us a summary of some of your passions?
So some of them are my kids' health and happiness, honesty, supporting good people, working alongside people with special needs and disabilities, creativity, making people smile, finishing things to the end, having a clean mind, helping other people, being the best I can be. I love decorating, streaming and communicating and supporting other people that are going through things that I'm able to just help put a smile on people's faces. Sorting other people's problems out. I'm great at sorting other people's problems, not so good at my own. And loyalty.
Kiwi says she wants you at her school. Yes. All right. And so the second criteria is the strengths and skills that we have. So just give us a summary then of some of your strengths and skills that you listed out for yourself.
Okay. So again, I'm very supportive, argumentative, stroke challenging when I know that something's right and when something's wrong. I'm confidential, creative, do things to the best of my ability, caring and understanding. I love being on my own as well as working with small supportive groups. I'm organised, I'm honest, I'm fair, trustworthy, and I have empathy.
Yes, definitely. And of course, as a skill, being a qualified teaching assistant as well, right?
Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier. So what you've done there is made a nice inventory of what you've got access to and what strengths you have, and that empathy, that ability to do things thoroughly, that caringness. Those are really valuable traits that you bring to any environment you work in. And you want to be, whatever opportunities you select, you want them to be giving you a space to fulfill on those, to deliver those strengths in.
Yeah.
Right. And then the third criteria is, what are our needs and wants? So what are some of the needs and wants that you identified?
Okay, so my main thing is to beat the anxiety and depression, which is what's stopping me from doing anything at the moment. Obviously, I've quit my job, so I'm now jobless. So my next thing going forward would be a job. So I want something that I'm happy and content in, something that I'm appreciated for being there and what I do in that role, something that fits around my children, being able to pay my bills and having money at the end to support me and the kids and have a bit of fun, making a difference to people, making people happy, supporting good people, being successful, seeing things and completing things, and for my children to grow up and be grounded and use me as their role model.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And you talked about good people. One of the ways you can notice that when you go to those job interviews is you're looking for people around you who have at least a 2.0 mindset, that they're in the driving seat, ideally 3.0, as close to 3 as you can get, that they're there really to make a difference and not there to make dramas and to have power trips, which is very 0.5. Right? Yeah. So and you know, you know how much money, so for everyone who's kind of engaging in this, and you're thinking, what is that third criteria for making choices in my life? We do have to account for the money, and those needs are really important to assess in choosing what opportunities that we're selecting, right? But they're not the only criteria, but they do matter.
Yeah.
All right. So then the fourth criteria for everyone's benefit is to think of it like a ship, right? If you're examining it and things don't go according to plan, does it steer you, steer that ship, or does it make a big hole and you just sink? Right. So it's really important that's kind of what we call our safety valve criteria.
Yeah.
And it prevents us from taking on things that are going to do us harm if it doesn't go perfectly.
Yeah.
Right. And so, that avoids us making ridiculous financial investments in something that, if it didn't go well, we would lose our house or whatever it is. Right. So it's kind of that safety valve criteria. You said that you'd this idea of failure steering and not sinking was something that came up for you after we spoke about this criteria. Where did that show up, and how did you see that being useful?
So the way you explained it to me was, it was like, so failure is a massive thing of mine. I hate failing at anything, and I see it as a real negative. And you flipped it for me, and you said it was like a rudder of a boat, and that it just changes the direction of where you were going to a different way. And I've never ever looked at it like that. And a friend of mine had some dating issues actually, and felt like he was failing, and he was the issue. And I used that for him, and I think he took it on board as well and saw it as, actually, she's not the right one, let's go in a different direction.
Yeah, wow, come on, what a great example.
I will take that with me. I love that one.
Yes, Becky, and I'm just really amazing how you've taken the concepts and you just put them into practice. Wow, no wonder you're a good teacher. Amazing, really amazing. So that's step 4. And then step 5, criteria 5, is about making an impact that inspires, right? That's the 5th criteria. So what we did is we looked at the you have various opportunities you could be considering, and we looked at 3. We kind of figured there'd be 3 that are most kind of good for recapping here in front of everyone else to learn the process. And hello, Coran. Hello, Kiwi. Hello, everyone who's joined the stream. We really appreciate you. Thank you for everything you guys are doing today and for playing with us. And what we're doing is we're talking about how do we make choices. And what we've done is we've talked about 5 criteria that you see there. And I'll take you through what those are again when we do this assessment. And what we're doing is we're evaluating the different opportunities that, that Becky could consider against the 5 criteria to see what she should pursue or what's going to forward her future, right? And so you can see up in the upper top of the screen there, it says, I am for people being included and able to give fully. That is Becky's purpose, right? And so that in that very first column, we have P and P. That first criteria is purpose and passion, right? So that's the first criteria. The second one is it allows you to fulfill on your strengths and skills. The third criteria is that it addresses your needs and wants.
Yep.
The fourth criteria is that failure steers. And the fifth criteria is that the impact inspires, hence I there. And of course, that final column is a yes or no column. Does it fit or doesn't it fit? Right, so you were considering 3 potential things you could do, right?
Yeah.
More than that, but 3 that we'll talk about here.
Yeah.
And the first one is getting a job at a place like B&Q. And for those who are in the United States, B&Q's a little bit like Home Depot, right? So B&Q is a DIY sort of handy store. They sell lots of that kind of goods. Yeah. All right, so let's go through those criteria. You're taking a job there.
Yeah.
Does having a job at B&Q fulfill your purpose and passions?
No.
It doesn't really, does it?
Not really. I mean, there's probably elements, but no. Overall, no.
Yeah, you know, I know that you like that creativity side of it. So, you know, it's got some elements in there, but that's not an opportunity for the future. No. But it could be a holdover opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then about your strengths and skills. Does it make the most of your strengths and skills?
No.
Right, so on number 2, we get an X, as you guys can see there. Right, that's the second X. And then the third one is fulfills your needs and wants.
No, it would pay the bills.
It would fill some of the needs, but it wouldn't deal with the wants.
Yeah. Which
is why it gets a cross. Okay, got it. And then failure steers. In other words, if it doesn't go well, you can learn from it.
Yeah.
And that gets a check mark because it's nothing particularly risky, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and does the impact you can make there, as far as you're concerned, inspire you?
No.
Right, which is why it's got the cross.
Yeah.
Okay, so as an opportunity to say yes to, it's got a cross.
Yeah.
Right? Now, for everyone who's listening, we all need to be doing something to get by. So it could be the case, Becky, that you take a job at a place like that as a temporary measure as you're kind of developing what's next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, but you just know it's not strategic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can do it, but it's not strategic. And sometimes those are, especially if there's a lot of competition for the role, it'll be really evident to the interviewer that you're not all in it. You get that?
100%.
And it's better to be authentic when you go to those interviews.
Like making money and getting by, absolutely.
You know, so there's nothing wrong with that. So for other people, that may be tick marks, right? But for you, those are X's across the board almost, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's that second one there. TA stands for teaching assistant. You're already a qualified teaching assistant.
I am.
And the job you just had was teaching assisting, right?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And so before you started that job, you described it as your dream job, right?
Absolutely. I love my job.
Yeah. So before the job began, you had tick marks all the way across the way. It was your purpose and passion. There's your purpose.
Yep.
People being included, able to give fully, right? It leveraged your strengths. It made the most of your strengths, your qualifications, right?
Yep.
And your skills, and you're caring about other people.
Yeah.
It deals with your needs and wants, right? It's a very inspiring thing to be up to. Failure steers, so when things don't go okay, you learn. And the impact you're making with people you've already shared inspires you, right? Yeah. But what happened is in your current job, something happened. And what is the thing that happened that made them X's for this specific opportunity?
So I had new management come in. So the management before, it was a dream job. we had a new boss come in, and she took a dislike to me and a friend of mine, and a few other people came in, shook it up a little bit, and has pushed me out of my job. Basically, she wasn't very nice. It was a bullying tactic, and yeah, the people around me weren't the support you need when you're working with special needs and you're being attacked and bitten and, you know, exhausted, and you've got nobody to have your back. You need to have a good team around you, and I felt like they weren't a good team, and she didn't want me there. She made it evident she didn't want me there, and has done everything to get me out. So
yeah. So you can see what happened there is that purpose and passions, when we talk about getting to be her purpose, which is that her purpose is for being included and being able to give fully, and that was not feasible. That was not going to happen in this environment. Right, because of the bullying, you know, and you tried various avenues and they were unsuccessful. So it became really clear you could no longer be your purpose in that environment. So it went from a check mark to a red cross.
Absolutely. Which
is why at the end it gets a red cross, because the way this works is it has to be ticks across the way to get a tick at the end.
Yeah.
All right. And so now the good news is you can go and get another teaching assistant job, but you know exactly what you're looking for in that environment.
100%. Yeah.
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 Because now you know your purpose, and now you know how to assess the environment, that role, using the 5 criteria. Can you see that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then there's this last one here, this biz one. What's this biz one about?
So I actually want to start my own business. Again, mentally, due to everything that's happened in the last 9 months, probably not at the right time, which is working with people that hoard. So people that have disabilities and collect things, you know, their house ends up being a mess. They've got no way of sorting out clutter. Going in and working with them, I've done something very similar with a few other friends, and I actually changed them into completely different people. And we went through a whole sort of way. It was a long process. It did not happen overnight. It was weeks, if not months, of clearing and sorting. And do you need this? Is this something that we need? Is it out of date? Can we get rid of it? And if they needed to keep it and things like that, because lots of people have things that they've got to have. It's a process that you've got to sort of work towards. And I actually came up with something today. I had a couple of options, and all the options that I came up for were covered in that one job.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so what you can hear is that it obviously allows you to include people who are normally excluded and allow them to be able to give fully in their lives, because they're no longer distracted by the clutter, right? So it fulfills your purpose.
Absolutely.
And passions, clearly, because you're doing it anyway. So for anyone who's there like, well, what should I do? Sometimes the things you're already doing anyway in your spare time give you hints.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't, you need to develop some skills, do some training, counseling training and things like that to be equipped to run a business like that, which is why it's got a question mark, because you've got to figure out what those skills are and go maybe learn a few things, do a course or something, so that you're equipped to be able to do this.
Yeah, there's a lot of background history. It's not just going in and sorting someone's house. There's a whole counseling of why they're like that.
Yeah.
And it might be that they've got special needs. They could be autistic and have to collect these things. You can't go in there and take that away from that person. So you have to have the understanding of why these people are doing what they're doing, and it's a slow process. So there is a lot of back stuff that needs to be done before moving forward.
Right, and which is why that's got a question mark, because it's skills you could attain even if you don't have them yet. So you could be now looking at what skills do I need to run a business, and what skills do I need to deliver this kind of service to the world. Right, and so that's an inquiry, that's a question, but there's an opening there. You can now see where you need to hone in, that it's a great opportunity to explore more about before you choose whether you're going to take the steps towards it or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Really, really great work, Becky. Thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing your journey with us and sharing us how you went about making some decisions of what you're going to do next.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I am absolutely sweating. I don't know, like, a lot of the people in here are going, oh my God, Becky's got a face, because usually I am not on camera, and I've just sat on camera. Oh, I feel sick. Bob, thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate, thank you for having me. And I hope it helped other people and people could relate to what I was saying.
Yeah, I think you did a great job. And I think what people now see is that that your next step is looking for teaching assisting jobs in right kind of environments. That's absolutely a fulfilling step for you. That's a no-brainer choice to be making. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely.
Well done. Thank you
me.
so much, Becky. You're amazing.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So for those who are watching the stream, this is your home play to apply what you learned today. Right, get that clarity of purpose, or if you haven't had a chance to do that, at least make a list of the things that matter most to you. Also make a list of your passions. That was the second step you heard Becky take. Make that list of strengths and skills. Your needs and wants is another list. And then you make that list of opportunities and then assess them. Right, so those are the 6 steps that you can take between now and the next week. And anybody who would like to take a stab at assessing some opportunities for yourself and share next week about what you got and what opportunities you're now pursuing, hit the 1 in the chat box to let us know, and we'll reach out to you after this session. We'll reach out to you, or you can give me a hi, send me a message, and we can talk about having you do a quick share next show, which is this time next Tuesday, noon Eastern time, 11 Central time, 9 a.m. California time, 5 p.m. London time, 6 p.m. Europe time. So thank you everyone who joined us today. Your last kind of thought, if you're a streamer, you might want to consider, how is what I'm streaming right now, how's what I'm doing right now helping others? Get that 3.0 mindset. How can I actually help others with what I'm doing? Instead of just, give me your diamonds. Or why is no one giving me diamonds? That's 1.0. Give me your diamonds. That's maybe 2.0. And then 3.0 is, how can I help you? How can I make a difference in your life such that you're inspired to contribute and share in getting diamonds, if that's what you want to do. So there you go. That's your diamond tip for the week. How am I helping others? Engage in that inquiry as you stream. Thank you all for joining us for the show. It was a real joy being with everybody today. Thank you for all the comments. Kiwi, thank you for the raised hands. Evie, possible. We love you, Evie. You're amazing. Evie's the best drag artist on the show. Ian Steven, a remarkable musician. If you're not already following Ian Steven, please do that. James Bond Girl, our guest of today, please definitely hit her with a favorite. Thank you for those peace signs. Jemmy, lovely to see you, my friend. Raz, thank you very much for being here. I'm glad it motivated you. Ferocio is an extraordinary man. His streams are filled with musicians that will totally floor you. Amazing, amazing people at Ferocio. Hit him with a favorite as well. Becky, you were remarkable. Thank you so much for that. Welcome, Tyler. Glad to have you here. Blue Knight, super hugs to you, my friend. Lovely to have you here. Craig, thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. Laura, lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. It's been really fun. And thank you to everyone. Thank you to all of the people who are in red on my stream, who went through the trouble of making sure everyone felt comfortable and knew what was happening. Rob, we love you, my friend. Thank you for being super awesome. Great to have you here today. We really appreciate everyone being here with us today. So again, reach out to me if you'd like to be a guest on a future show. Just hit me on all of my Instagram. Hit me with a favorite, by the way, kind of obvious, but the star next to my name, if you haven't already hit that, please hit that star. And we will be here again next week. But do hit me up either on social media. By clicking on my profile, you can see my social media, or you can see Inspiring Leader above my head is on Instagram. So hit me up if you want to be a guest on a future show. Super hugs to everyone. Thank you very much for the magic, and we will see you next week.